just case in point. I'm dealing with this pinched nerve thing. I'm at the point where like I have to go to a doctor tomorrow, I think, and just be like, I need something for right now. And then I've done acupuncture. It's like shame on me for not just taking better care of myself, because really it's like I need to just make it a standing
we're
thing.
like in our 30s.
I know,
like,
it's just
shit's gonna start happening.
I mean, it definitely is like
fault.
there's
It's not your fault.
There's more maintenance. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Chelsea.
Hey, Victoria.
You know what I need?
What?
Breath Fresh movie.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's a movie I like to see.
You're listening to A Breath of Fresh Movie, a weekly podcast where me, Victoria Harley,
And me, Chelsea Pope.
we watch a movie neither one of us has ever seen before, and then we talk about it.
That's right.
We might not talk about everything, but we will talk about anything.
Spoilers ahoy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although this isn't one, at least, that has like a twist. Like, this isn't one of those like, oh, if we're not gonna, I don't think any plot
you still need
spoilers.
to watch it to just experience it.
Yeah, this isn't like an old boy thing where like if you haven't seen it and then someone tells you the wrong part of it, it kind of ruins it.
Yeah, I don't think this will do that. So we're talking about...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I realized.
Sorry.
No, I forgot. We're talking about the 2009 romance, thriller, vampire movie, etc., many genres.
Romance.
That's what he says.
Okay.
The director claims it's a romance.
Okay.
Thirst, directed by Park Chan-Wook.
There sure was a lot of thirst.
There was a lot of thirst.
A lot of thirst.
Lots of thirst. Logline. This movie is loosely based on the 1867 novel Therese Raquin, written by Emile Zola. The film follows a Catholic priest who turns into a vampire after a failed medical experiment, then falls in love with the wife of a childhood friend. So the woman, her parents are like the woman who's an orphan, and then grows up with her cousin's family or whatever, right? Like, or she grows up with her aunt. She ends up being married into that family. The way the mother describes it is like, well, we shared a bedroom.
It's almost like indentured servitude type of...
It's weird. It's like she came to stay with the family and then eventually just is married off to her aunt's son, her cousin.
Just stay on essentially as like a house servant.
Yeah.
Like they're just keeping her on as like
it's
free
disgusting.
labor.
It's disgusting.
Labor.
And he... the son, I have his name, is just particularly pathetic. Kang-woo.
I thought he was funny. But he was funny. I mean, he sucked. He sucked. Honestly. Like,
everyone kind of sucked.
Everyone in this movie kind of sucked.
Everyone sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not...
Did we say what... We say the main protagonist is like the priest guy.
Yeah, and his name... Let me get these names right.
That's okay.
Priest Sang-hun. And then Taeju is the girl.
Yeah.
And the one he falls in love with. Who, so his childhood friend is Kang-woo, and he comes into his life because this priest, before any of that happens, right? It's like the whole thing with I'm going to go and get infected, and then it goes badly.
I feel like it's like a hubris thing, honestly,
right.
but it's under the guise of him
Catholic.
Wanting to do good.
Yes.
I think...
That's his
me
thing.
Being a pessimist looking at that character and being incredibly judgmental. It's that presumption of like, I'm going to be the one who goes through this trial that no one survives, and I'm going to be the one that helps find the cure for this incurable thing. I'm going to be the hero a little bit.
Yeah. He does kind of have to be...
Someone who's more sympathetic to that character could definitely disagree with that. But I just think he does this a number of times, and it's like always to his detriment, where he tries to step up and be the hero because that's what the ascribed moral code is supposed to be for someone like him.
But he drags people into it who have like no desire to be dragged into it, maybe that's all religious, what have you, but
Father. Wasn't that creepy when she's calling him father, and he's even like, "Don't call me father."
Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly unsentimental. Like there's no, it's unromantic. It feels like that novel it's based on. I've never read it, but I think it's kind of this. I got the sense from what I was reading that it's something of a naturalist novel, and by that I mean like, I don't know if you ever read Ethan Frome. There were a lot of books of an era that were, the perspective was like sort of people are animals, and we're going to treat it with that kind of narrative distance almost. So it's not, if something's a tragedy, it's described in such clinical terms and in such like basic, like it's just too much. Like in Ethan Frome, it has to do with really just economic forces are larger than these people's desires, and it just is not going to go well because of that. And like that's sort of a naturalist, I guess, point of view. There's other ways of looking at it, but that's
that makes sense.
And it kind of felt that way in this because as you said, like, and we both, everyone sucks, so everyone's kind of a mess. Like I felt sort of bad for the girl, you know. I mean, I definitely felt bad for Taeju. Sure. Like Taeju was like this. She was
the most interesting character.
She was she had the most interesting character.
And I almost was kind of like girl boss.
I know
a little bit.
Well, I like that.
Obviously, she goes off the deep end. Moth, sorry. Startled me behind you.
Okay. We'll let it be.
You're fine.
No, I agree. I actually think she had the most interesting and full character arc. She really went on because she escaped her situation. Mm-hmm. It became debatable about how truthful she was with that, but I also kind of felt like that was very like, let's blame the woman.
I mean, we definitely saw her getting hit and not being treated well.
So I don't understand this, like,
but he's
like, I will kill for you now that I know he has abused you. And then later it's like, well, did he hit you or not?
Yeah,
like,
it's like, but dude, that's all this bravado being hidden under that guy's morale, but really he's like very sexually driven at that point.
Oh, completely.
It's very...
There's a lot of visceral shit in this movie, like the peeling fingernails. That was like the first kind of moment.
Nasty.
That was rough.
That was nasty Cronenberg stuff.
Yeah, like also when he's playing that, he's taking the treatment. And he's playing his recorder.
Oh yeah,
and he just like coughs all this blood through it.
Shoots straight through the flute. It's almost kind of funny.
I mean,
but
it kind of looks
really gross.
It was kind of. I mean, that's the thing. There are moments that are oddly funny. Yeah. Well, like okay, right at the beginning, the patient that's flatlining, and it's like the priest is trying so hard to save him, but the doctor just comes in, looks bored almost, and just like paddles, he doesn't. That's his job. He's used to it. He's so dead to it, and it's like kind of funny, or I find it funny.
I think it's very funny too because it's like that juxtaposition of just how commonplace the death is in his profession versus this kind of hero complex of this religious figure coming in trying to be a hero.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the doctor's just like,
yeah.
Okay. You take so much ego. When you take the ego away, it's like it's hard. It's hard not to look at.
It's true. And people are worshiping him, and he's like, "Please, I am not." But
he
he loves it. He loves it. No, you're right. It's very Catholic. I mean, the way that he's carrying this guilt, or like I can't. But also, it seems like he can't enjoy something unless it's kind of wrong. It's
the guilt.
Yeah,
complex.
Exactly. There were a couple. Oh, I thought another darkly funny moment was when he went to the lab and the head of the lab, I think he was Dr. Emmanuel, is giving the presentation with the slideshow, and he's like monotone, clicking. You will experience this. Like you will get boils. Then they will split open. Then they will do he doesn't
just like unrelenting.
Yeah,
like, this is bad. It's really bad. It gets worse.
He's not even looking at the screen that he's cycling through
because they've done it so.
They've done it so many times. He knows like how many clicks. You know what I mean? Christ, that is funny.
And how darkly funny too. That like the only way the priest would survive is through him going through a blood transfusion,
being corrupted.
Yeah, with vampire blood. Yeah, but he thinks he's a hero. Like that. It's very
dark.
Where
did that vampire blood come from, by the way?
It
wasn't clear.
That's the other. It's very nihilist. It's very absurd in that way. Where it's almost more of just the statement of like the irony that this character.
Yeah.
He could only survive through these fantastical means, but they have nothing to do with God.
No, not at all. Yeah, he's injecting a lot of seriousness into everything. And then when he encounters...
he's kind of a buzzkill.
Yeah, and then when he encounters Taeju, it's like, here's somebody who actually is in trouble or actually suffering. And there was something like really wickedly funny about after, he got his dick wet for the first time. Yeah. And they're interrupted and they come back to the table where they're playing mahjong. And there's this whole subtext. You should come back. Yeah. And, I can't, that's too far away. I have to come sooner. I don't know. I thought it was going to maybe stay in that funny place a little bit, but
yeah, especially because then there was the death too. I thought it was going to be a little more like
comical,
tongue in cheek, a little bit. Like ended, those images of the ex-husbands. He's
between them,
he's smiling, like kind of like almost directly at. He's looking beyond camera, but like it's that very sort of like fourth wall breaking, Like if it was a comedy horror, that would be like the button for me.
Right. Yeah. Like they have to live with this.
We only really see those couple of images, and that's
a few times.
That's really that.
Because I was like,
drop that.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, okay. They're like, oh, it's just a psychological thing. Just ignore it. And it's like, wait, what? I think it. Some people call his work genre blending, and it certainly is that. Mm-hmm. But I agree that like by the end, you asshole, she didn't want to die.
Yeah.
Like, she was cool to just keep going on the way she was, but you decide that, no, she's going to hurt people. And, well, yeah, she's a vampire.
Well, he also, he selfishly, murders her then, too. Yeah. Because he's so mad that she... basically what she coerced him into doing, murdering her husband, that goes against his egotistical, I'm adjacent to God. He's so mad at having been taken advantage of in that way that he kills her, and then very selfishly brings her back, but then expects her to only be the type of vampire that will follow his ethical code.
Yeah,
which is bullshit too.
Yeah, because when she became a vampire, I was thinking of Kirsten Dunst in
it's gonna be one of those. She's gonna feel trapped in it or something.
Yeah.
She's being.
But she also I watched that movie recently, and her childlike ability to kill, with a whim. I did think that I felt like this woman is embracing her nature and the nature of this sort of evil thing now that she is, or this strange thing that
she's in power. She's given power, but then he has to keep checking it or taking it away from her.
Yeah, and I didn't.
This is all the more reason why, half jokingly, but also I'm a little bit girl boss.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing her turn to dust.
Yeah,
didn't like that.
What a dick! Darkly funny though. Yeah, the sequence with the car and the trunk.
Yes,
and then she's pulling it, and then he flings it. Then she grabs the trunk, tries to read, and then he flings it away further. And then she tries to get under the car, and then he rolls the car away. And
it was kind of funny.
It's funny, but also what a piece of work.
What an asshole.
What a dick, taking away her. Thinking
choice,
that I guess because he's thinking, oh well, she's just going to malevolently kill, and I guess that is indicated in how gratuitous her kills are, and her saying as much that the blood literally tastes better if there's a struggle, and
girl boss.
I'm not saying fucking girl boss. Okay, you know what?
We obviously related to one character.
Fucking Theranos.
This did feel like 3 movies in one. It was so many different. Yeah. Every time I thought, oh, okay, this is where we're gonna live, it would leave that. And at first I liked that. And then it started to get a little fatiguing.
It was very tight. At the halfway, it was less than halfway after the first third, because I thought it was a specific kind of movie. Yeah. Then it started shifting gears, and I was like, oh, where are we going?
Where's this going?
Yeah. Also, fuck the mom. Why didn't they just ice her? Because that was a huge part of the problem too. Once she was catatonic, it would have been very easy to just.
I like the way they casually lifted her chair though. Oh, this is in the way. Yeah. That was fun. I did like the casual application of the super strength. There's a moment where he uncoils a corkscrew to stab the dude in the chest. Yeah. I feel like there was some other moments like that where it was just very casual.
He's also just again going. I know we're really laying it. I'm really laying into this protagonist.
Oh, that's okay.
Just make the guy a vampire so he can see. Right. Make the other priest. He's blind. Dick.
I know.
But he'll make his girlfriend a vampire. But you think that it's selfish of your ex fellow mentor to want to actually have the gift of eyesight. What an asshole.
Yeah, dude's a dick.
That guy was a dick.
And even remember when the priest was gonna go do the thing at the lab or whatever, the abbot, he's like, I think you should go learn optometry so that you can come and help me with my eyes.
But it's an ego trip thing.
It's no, that's not big enough.
Exactly. This guy sucked.
This guy did kind of suck.
This guy sucked. He sucked and he fucked.
There was a line I think Taeju gives, which is kill me or save me, you'll regret it either way. Yeah. And it's that is so Catholic. Oh my God.
Oh man. Profound.
This had a lot of sexuality eroticism in it. Yeah. I didn't necessarily find it erotic.
I wouldn't. I think
having sex in a hospital bed. Not.
She's also like, it's so hard not to see that actor as the dad in Parasite, having seen that before this.
Right.
And even though he is younger in this, and like, it's not connecting. I don't always ascribe to the age gap thing. I get a little, I don't like when people get their panties twisted about that. So, but it really did feel a little like,
it was a little pervy.
It did feel like gross.
Well, and then there was that,
and her, because she also had these very little girl like sex noise, like, very like
it was a little
very hentai like. Yeah. I just felt like I really needed a shower after like
it was a movie
20 minutes of this movie.
Yeah, I definitely felt like there were scenes. If somebody walked in on me in the living room watching this, I feel like I'd have some splaining to do.
Absolutely,
because I mean, it's not porn.
Exactly,
it's a vampire movie. I swear, because it really looked well. And I mean, I'm not saying again, I didn't find it so much, but I do think it had certain markers though of filming an erotic scene that work better than a lot of the way it gets handled, like a lot of contemporary films in America, and if it gets handled at all.
I don't think this was an aesthetically well executed and competent film.
Yes,
it just made me feel really gross, and I also just didn't like anyone.
Yeah, I think the fact that they slept on a water bed was disgusting.
Yeah,
waterbeds have you ever slept on a waterbed?
They're disgusting.
Have you ever slept on one?
I have.
They're horrible.
They're just my stepdad had one.
Gross.
That was when, oh my God. Knowing that he and my mom are on a waterbed every night made me want to vomit.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hearing it slosh.
I feel like, no.
I didn't like really hear it slosh.
No, but you could imagine.
It was fucking gross.
You don't need to hear it to be disgusted by it.
I don't know why I never thought to like puncture a hole in it or something.
Right? Holy crap.
That guy was disgusting, and waterbeds are disgusting.
Yeah, they are, and they're dangerous.
And like you deserve to get like a hole in one.
Oh my God, yeah. They're so tacky.
They're tacky
and inconvenient,
and they're not good for your back.
No,
they actually are really bad.
They're terrible. Anyway, a few notes about the production. So I feel like it's a
great transition.
Can't get past this.
Yeah.
So like I said, this was based on a novel. And when this novel was published, Thérèse Raquin, it was very scandalous because it had this whole element of the adultery and murder. Again, it was
pre-Dracula too, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's like something I read
well,
about that.
the book actually is absent of the vampire myth. He kind of fused some idea he had with that story.
Oh, so there's just a melange of
It's a melange.
Stuff.
It's a melange.
It's a real mirepoix.
Real mirepoix. This is Park's first vampire movie, and it's worth noting that, like, according to him, maybe he's not correct, but there's really no Korean vampire myth to speak of.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll admit there's still a lot of Korean films I haven't seen, but I don't know.
So I think that's kind of interesting that he wanted to, do one. But that's kind of what it feels like. I did one.
Yeah. There you go.
This is also the first mainstream Korean film to feature full frontal male nudity.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't sexy. It was very sad, disturbed. And
it wasn't supposed to be a sexy scene.
No.
For sure. That was definitely not. That was not hot.
That was awful. And what a weird, like, just the ego thing, like the weird check on that, like how they did nothing. He just walked away. Yeah. He just raped a girl and walked away.
They punch him and then you just kind of...
And then they just let him go.
And then he just gets away.
Because this was the guy they were worshiping.
Yeah.
And it's like, I just thought about...
They're all just shocked about it.
Yeah, I just feel like it was like every cult and every, that has...
But also, what a dick way for him to feel that was how he needed to tell them, like, I need these people to stop worshiping me. I'll rape this girl.
I know. Like, what
this guy fucking sucked.
He really does.
He sucked, he fucked, and he sucked the whole time.
Despite your take, it did open #1 at the box office in South Korea.
Titty.
Yeah, it counted for 30% of all the ticket sales like that weekend.
No, it's like it's artistically made and stuff.
Yeah, and it was also a joint co-production. This was Universal, and it's the first time there was a Korean and U.S. co-production ever, which I'm actually shocked. That seems like really late 2009. But Korean cinema is kind of as I learned about the director, he grew up in a time where there wasn't really a lot available. There were none or very few film schools. There wasn't really like any kind of a community or culture to embrace or reject, you know. Yeah. So he's very much like a self-taught fella, you know.
Just a totally random thing that popped in my head too is just the rock that the husband is holding in the vision they have of him reminds me of the rock from Parasite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's something there.
I know it's not the same rock. It has nothing to do. I'm forcing it, but it's because there's that one same actor as well. But.
Yeah. I mean, he and Bong Joon-ho are both defining Korean putting it on, you know, putting it on a global stage.
They like the thing, something about rocks.
Yeah, they're into rock. Yeah, because Mother had that thing too, where that girl, remember, got struck in the back of the head with the rock. I think somebody said or tweeted, same thing, I guess. Bong Joon-ho makes head injuries like feel so horrible. Yeah, like he's so good at that. We're fragile.
It's true.
Some other movies that came out at the time were Obsessed, Earth, The Soloist, 17 Again, State of Play.
17 Again.
Yeah. Also X-Men Origins Wolverine, Battle for Terra, and the Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, which
oh my gosh.
I can't believe that was made. This did win the Cannes Jury Prize and it was nominated for Palme d'Or.
All right.
Did you look into any reviews?
I can just say this has been a very well received. It's a high-starred film. Yeah. That's what of my brief. I looked at stuff. I just didn't. I totally didn't agree. Forgot to save stuff.
No, it's.
And also, it's hard. I kind
of. Tough when you don't agree. Yeah.
It's not that it's like again. I acknowledge that this is a good. Yeah. It's worth watching. There's a reason it's in the Criterion Vampire, selection mix.
I get that. I do.
The sex stuff was very gross and uncomfortable.
Yeah, they like licking digits, not hot. Toes and armpits.
Not hot.
Yeah, that was.
And and I was like,
he was thirsty. That's for sure.
He was. I liked when she puts on his shoes at the end. I liked that. I always like when they do those kinds of callback things at the ends. But also, I thought
But I hated that it was like the shoe drops. Like
the shoe drops. Right. That was very on the nose.
It was so on the nose. I did think that shot at the end, the overhead of the cliff revealing the ocean, was gorgeous.
Why should the mom have that? I hope she starved and died in that car.
Yeah, I don't know.
That lady sucked.
That lady sucked so hard.
I don't like the idea of her getting to smile and be like, yeah, good. Fuck those vampires.
She smelled her own son's fart and is like diagnosing it. Ew. It was so disgusting.
That's some biodome shit. This movie has everything.
It has everything.
He's clearly was a biodome fan.
Big biodome.
Yeah, I love Pauly Shore.
Oh goodness, yeah, he did. So Park Chan-Wook was born August 23rd, 1963 in Seoul, South Korea. His father was an architecture professor specializing in color. His father was also an amateur painter. I just want to mention, amateur is a word that usually gets used disparagingly, and I get why, but I think it's interesting. The ama part is about love, you do something for love, not necessarily professionally.
Yeah.
Embrace the word amateur.
I'm an amateur Diet Coke drinker.
There you go.
I'm very proud of it.
See, I feel like I'm a professional researcher and an amateur comedian.
There you go.
Because I'm not
love.
I'm not earning a living on jokes, so I can't claim that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Thanks.
Until somebody kicks into.
Until we're discovered.
Yeah. Anyway, father into architecture. I wanted to find something about his mother, but unsurprising, couldn't find anything.
Oh dear.
I'm sure she had thoughts and dreams and feelings.
I don't know. Did she though, or was she just another? Was she just
a lady Ra?
Bessie that needed to get put down?
Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I did find out though his maternal grandfather collected art, so he was taken to galleries a lot with his brother when he was a kid. So he kind of has a painterly. He's described as having a painterly quality in some of his shots and in his work. And I do think the first shot of this movie felt that way. It was the shadow of the tree on the white wall of the.
There's a lot of very artsy choices.
Yeah.
There's that blood. That very towards the end, where you see that blood ocean with the whale. I thought that was a little cartoony.
Okay.
I feel like I'm just punching down, and that's not cool.
Some of the CGI was not good.
That was weird.
Some of it looked like a video game.
It looks a little weird.
When they were hopping on the roofs, I was like.
Some of it's fun, but yeah, I was very this is Twilight.
It was, a little bit.
Twilight, baby.
Well, anyway, he came. No, it's fine. He came of age. Like I said, during a time that was really turbulent in Korea, the 80s. Democracy was being fought for. War. As I said, the film scene just didn't really exist, or it was very, very small. So, but as a child, he had watched movies on American Forces Korea Network, which is kind of like a channel certainly set up during the Korean War, but they showed a lot of foreign movies. So with English subtitles. So he would watch a lot of things on a black and white TV, not knowing quite what was being said, but ingesting things. So he kind of had I think he understood like cinematic language.
A lot of visual.
Yes.
He's a visual learner.
He's a visual guy. He attended Sogang University, which is a prestigious Jesuit school. He studied philosophy, but he was really disappointed in its analytical focus and how there weren't really many offerings on aesthetics or these issues of, in visual interpretation, things like that. And I got to say, a lot of philosophy is frustrating to me in that analytical way, where it's like, if you ask like, well, what do you need to have a good life? To be like, well, what do you mean by good? And what do you mean by life? And it's like, God. Like that kind of thing. Like, yes.
You're the worst.
Yes.
That's why Chidi on The Good Place was always treated as the worst.
Yeah. Totally. So anyway, he started a film club called Sogang Film Community, where he screened VHS bootlegs of foreign movies. So this is like how it started.
There you go.
He thought he was going to become an art critic, but he changed course and decided to become a filmmaker officially. The story goes that it was Vertigo that did it. He saw Vertigo and, So he AD'd for a bit. He wrote. He was still doing criticism, but his first film he made in 1992, and it was called The Moon is the Sun's Dream. Great title. Unfortunately, not very successful. And 5 years pass, and he makes another film called Trio. Also not successful. Now I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of that. You pinch, you save, you go to a lot of effort to make a film.
Very relatable.
And then it goes nowhere. And then you're like, okay, my heart got broken, but I guess I'm going to stay in this.
Everybody's got to, you got to start somewhere. You got to
exactly. And then you go and you're like, all right, let's try again. I'm ready to love again. And then you get your heart broken again.
Yeah.
Finally, though, 3 years later, Joint Security Area, which he wrote and directed, came out in 2000, and that finally got a lot of attention. The Park himself credits that mostly to the fact that he really opened up collaboration with the actors. And I think what you were saying, like he's a visual guy, I think maybe he really depends on actors to help not write, but fill in those reactions. And I read somewhere in an interview, and I'm paraphrasing, but he was saying like directors who are so particular, or like it has to be this way or it has to be that, I can only shoot during golden hour or whatever. He's like, why don't you just get into animation where everything is perfect and exactly what you want? Because like I'm making film and there's things that happen that I don't control. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought that
you have to enjoy those variables.
Exactly.
That's otherwise.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very unhappy existence.
Yeah. You mentioned Old Boy. That's another film he made a couple years later. There's also a Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. This is in no particular order. Sympathy for Lady Vengeance. I'm a Cyborg, but that's okay. It's a fun title.
I do like that title.
Thirst, then Stoker, then The Handmaiden, which is a huge hit.
Right.
Huge hit. And like has massive fan communities in Korea. Like people, there's holidays, there's songs, there's fan art, there's fan fiction, there's stickers, there's badges.
I like he's got this kind of upward, like he doesn't... He didn't let those early on failures define him.
I respect that. I respect that
he keeps improving on himself.
Yeah. Plus, he wrote for a lot of people as well. He's got a lot of writing credits. He always kept busy, And by the way, Joint Security Area, the thing that was his breakthrough, sounded interesting because it's about 4 soldiers who are stationed at the DMZ, 2 on the north and 2 on the south, and it's about them forming a friendship, like across the border, even though like that's strictly forbidden. And it's a tragedy. So, spoiler. At the time, it was like the highest grossing film in Korea. So it was like this really big deal. But The Handmaiden is like, took that to a whole other level. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's, he has a new film coming out that just came out. Which I forgot because I didn't write it down.
Victoria.
I know. I'm not doing it.
I did nothing and you missed one thing.
I'm like, I don't care. Okay, so his latest film is Decision to Leave, which just came out a couple weeks ago.
What is it called?
Decision to Leave.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, and I don't know. I mean, the reviews are good, but it seems like the reviews are always good for this. Well, except for maybe those first 2. I don't know.
Oh, he's gotten better at doing.
Yeah. I heard there was a story about his first film that he said he couldn't even get anyone to review it. So his friend, who was a reviewer, was like, okay, you can write a review of your own movie and we'll publish it under my name, because he didn't feel right reviewing it as a friend, but he was fine with like...
That's so funny to me.
Anyway, so just on the subject of reviews.
And speaking of reviews, Liam on Letterboxd, I just like this one, 3.5 stars. He thirsty, but she thirstier.
That's perfect.
That's perfect. I like don't even...
Oh, that's perfect.
I don't even really
Good job, Liam.
Let me see.
Give me another. I need another shot.
Let's see. Trying to... I don't know. It's got some of these are either too wordy or they're okay.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Pithy's good.
Another 3.5 from Jay. I can excuse drinking blood during sex, but I draw the line at licking feet.
Yeah. I noticed the feet licking. There was some armpit licking.
Yeah.
It was like, for something that people describe as having erotic scenes, I'm like, no, this did not.
No, I was never turned on. I was always at least a little bit grossed out.
Yeah, the movie's like a wet brown paper bag. You know, you're just like, ugh. Like
this one's funny.
Oh, here, let me hear.
Okay, from Francis Meth, 3 stars. Park, don't make me tap the sign. And then it says the sign. Do not waste great cinematography on stupid characters.
Perfect.
I think it's still a 3-star review. It's more positive.
3-star.
Most of the reviews are around that 4-star range that I'm looking at here.
Okay.
So people seem to at least appreciate like the artistic merit of this. And again, I think that's kind of certainly where we seem to stand.
That is where we're at. Yeah. I mean, it's, I think Kim Ok-bin, who played Taeju, I think she was magnificent. I liked watching her.
She was
compelling.
I can't help but think like, hey, good for her.
She should have had a sequel, like Where She Lived.
I think that would have been.
And I mean, I don't
compelling.
Yeah.
It was dumb of her. She was dumb too to assume that like that girl wasn't killed though towards the end.
Yeah.
The one when he's like, oh, you can't have, you had your fill. I'm having some blood too, and it's like.
What is that? Also, like the aesthetics of like
she should have finished her off
when they painted the inside of their apartment.
Oh, I hated the white like a sanatorium. I was like, oh, this is so. It was so painful to look at.
It was hard to look at.
He's like, it's trying to remind him of daytime. I'm like, are you dumb?
I know. I'm like,
that's such a rudimentary, like,
we'll paint it white. And we'll hang these
like an insane asylum.
And they hung those like, they weren't fluorescents. I think they were something better, but the kind of beam lights that are.
Oh, it was awful.
I don't know.
It sounded terrible.
Everything was, like I said, kind of, yeah. What like
Liam? The logic was not
I didn't ask a lot of questions. I was like, at first, again, I was really into it, and that's when I texted you. I'm like, oh, this is really good, but I'm like, I should have waited to the end. Why did I text you at the beginning? Because I'm like, oh,
did you?
Yeah, I did.
That's funny. I thought you had already watched it all, and as it was how I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be one of those ones that I like.
Where you're like pussyfooting around trying to be
like, what did you think of it?
No.
Oh, she liked this.
No, I liked it at first.
It's okay. You're allowed to like.
Well, I think I liked it more than you.
Yes, you did.
I definitely liked it more than you.
Absolutely, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm not judging.
I also, once again, it's kind of like Lair of the White Worm. I'm like, oh, I wish this wasn't the first one of his movies I saw.
Yeah, like I still would be like down to.
We could come back to something.
I know this is a tough.
Tough one.
I was
maybe not right.
I was going to make a declarative statement and say I would sooner rewatch this than Old Boy, but I honestly think I would probably. And I've seen Old Boy a couple times. It's rough. Okay. I mean, no, it's like it's one of his best, but it's also like it's pretty brutal.
It's like sex and violence, right?
It's sex and violence and like a couple like very intense twists that like if you got to go in blind.
Okay.
But even I would still rewatch that before I rewatched this.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Because it's more like compelling action. It's more like whereas this one I think just I was like really. There's gross shit that happens in Old Boy, but the grossness is like
getting dark in here.
It's really this movie was yucky.
It was a little yucky.
And there's those little tweezer scissors too.
Oh God,
and I hated that.
That had me on edge. And I think like the first time that happened, I think that's like part of why I was like compelled, because I was like, oh my fucking God, this is so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it was very stressful.
Yeah,
I felt bad for her too, the girl, because like. She just needed a hairbrush, and like the you know, when she finally gets the vampire, she gets
looking real
vampire
good.
Eyes. She got the glow up, you know.
Yeah, she got the glow up.
I almost was kind of hoping at the end it would have been hilarious if like they're on the car and like the sun comes up and nothing happens. They just maybe they sparkle or something. Like they don't actually burn to a crisp. They're just like they just get hotter.
Yeah. Oh, like sexier?
Yeah, they just get even sexier.
Even sexier. Like drippier and cool.
I'm a monster or whatever he says.
Yeah, there were so many, there was a lot of information. You know, like I said, it felt like 3 movies in one. You know, there was also a lot of stuff that was unresolved. The implication's heavy enough, but like that guy who comes play Mahjong with them, the guy who was like a former cop or something, or a corrupt cop, it's like so heavily implied that like he raped her.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he says that thing callously about like women shouldn't go under, you know, sedation with male doctors.
No,
they raped them.
No, he I thought he did.
I mean, there were so many exchanges of glances. I'm like, there's no way that didn't happen.
Wasn't there a scene where it did? Like, didn't
was there actually a scene? Because I thought she fucked another guy at the table.
You know, okay, I'm getting I got confused. Okay, I'm sorry. So a different dude came back. A different dude. Like, oh, you need me taking care. Okay, sorry.
He was saying something.
Those characters.
Yeah. Well, also that same dude at one point he was offering like, oh, come fishing sometime, but he's like, he was like, come at night. During the day is difficult. And then later I was like, is that guy? Is he a vampire? Like, oh my God. And then it never came back.
This girl was such a, like, she was not meant for this world. She was always going to be someone's prey.
It's so, and it makes me angry.
That this priest guy, the father, thinks that he's so much better than all these other hounds. And it really, like, she dies twice by him.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah.
He kills her.
This girl, I can understand her rage issues. Oh, I can understand her, like, absolutely relishing and like sucking off and killing these people. Oh my God,
because also like she thought she was free, and then like this asshole drives you to the beach like before dawn, and like
fucking dick.
What an asshole. All right,
he's somehow because he's been so correct up until this point about correct as far as being a judge of moral.
I gotta say, between Buffy and Interview with the Vampire and this, I am tired of vampires with souls. I am over it. I am so tired. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm
right there with you.
Who's your best supporting player? It's tough, right? Kang-woo.
Yeah, Kang-woo for sure.
Who was played by Shin Ha-kyun. He was expressive.
He was expressive. He had like the most charisma. It almost was like, I kind of almost wish we were watching that flavor of movie more.
Yeah,
like I wish we were leaning more into that kind of dark humor a little bit.
I mean, I was so with her when he and his mother were showing that horrible codependence. They're being
like so nasty and gross.
I mean, but it was entertaining. I mean, as gross
but it was, it's engaging.
I mean, as gross as it was, I'm like, at home, like reacting like that's disgusting. I just vomited in my mouth.
But I like the dark humor stuff. It's kind of it's in the same way with like Parasite. Part of what makes that movie really engaging to watch is it has a sense of humor, even though they're dealing with some very serious, severe issues. Did you see Parasite?
Yeah.
So like, you know, when the nurse first comes, or the house lady, she first comes out to grab the wife mom and like has to like snap at her to like she's so pilled out.
Oh no, the class issues that are, I mean, Parasite is fantastic.
But the dark humor of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of Korean cinema, well, it's not what I think, it's a thing people have observed, is that, you know, because, you know, the fight for democracy is still a very recent memory, issues of class and equality and things like that are still very much front of mind for people in a way that is front of mind for some people now, but not enough people. Yeah. You know, like, and I'll just say, would you watch this again? No.
No.
Okay, me neither. I don't know.
Respect it. Okay, like I get it. I respect it, but like
respect. But
respect.
I hope everyone made some money on that. It sounds like they did. And I hope everyone had a good shooting experience. Like I hope it was.
This movie's not falling through the cracks. Okay.
Definitely not.
My opinion's not the nail in the coffin. It's on Criterion. It's got a 3.7 on Letterboxd.
This also kind
of doing just fine.
Yeah, and it's. You know, the fact that this was a co-production with Universal, you know, I brought this up when we were talking about Nope, but like Universal's been doing some interesting things. Yeah. They're trying different things. They're like, you know what? Let's get in that. Like, let's get involved in this. Like, Korean cinema is clearly like having a real moment, and not a moment. I mean, a fully fledged movement is happening, you know? And horror in particular is very interesting coming out of there. And I was glad that we did this because I wanted to get more acquainted with some of those aspects. I mean, we did a little bit with Mother, you know, and I'm now beginning to see like, oh, right, there are these recurring themes.
This is definitely a different flavor.
It is a very different flavor.
But it's, thematically, there's like overlap.
And I like that. I like that they don't shy away from that shit because I think we pretend that we don't have class and that's bullshit. Yeah. We absolutely do. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
It's always, last week, I think I cut it off abruptly and I was like, that's weird. Oh. Why did I do that? Like in my recording, the editing, not us.
How are you?
Yes.
How are you doing, everybody? Let us know.
Let us know, yeah. We're still on Twitter, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess we're still on Twitter.
I don't know. I mean, I get why people are leaving, but then I'm also like, I can't boycott everything that's owned by someone I don't like.
It could change hands just as easily overnight to somebody else. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not for it. I just want to make it clear. I'm not. But
we are on Twitter.
Can we just agree that everything is fucked and like we're all equally guilty and complicit in our own? I mean, not equally. There are people who are way more guilty, but we're participants, right, in our own.
I don't think there's any ethical social media platform out there.
Exactly.
TikTok's got a lot of issues.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to disparage an entire nation. It's just that TikTok that's a Chinese company, you know, or it's part of like a larger like organization, and like. This is full conspiracy theory. I don't believe this. But somebody was suggesting that like they want to decentralize or destabilize a nation, just like get them to all dance into an app. Like TikTok in China is like apparently used for different things. Yeah, like inspiring things.
Well,
like,
I mean, it's not just the.
You're right. It's not. I'm being such a boomer right now with my attitude.
But people really do think that.
Like, people
really do think that.
Yeah, it's true. It's funny how like the words TikTok though, I can say them, but in my head I'm like,
it's a silly sounding app, right?
And I feel like I sound old saying it.
I remember like Twitter being a newer thing. I remember there being some commercial that's talking about like so and so many people are tweeting right now. So and so many people are wondering what is Twitter right now.
Right. Oh, and now the local news and national news, Twitter is like a regular source. Right. They're like, oh, these people are tweeting this out. And I mean, it's become legit. I mean, we saw in the Arab Spring, like it was used as a tool, which is why the internet is shut down in Iran right now, because they don't want people using social media and they don't want people communicating.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Find us on Twitter.
Thank you. Yes. Also support anything having to do with women in Iran. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not just virtue signaling here.
Oh, no, you're fine. I thought you were going to say you should buy our merch.
I mean, you could do that too, but I would be happier somewhere. I wouldn't know, but you would know, and you'd feel good for me.
Good. You'd feel good for Victoria.
But you could also buy a sticker or a mug. You could
also just buy a pillow with some lips on it.
Maybe I'll just add us a Patreon so people can just like throw money at us. I mean, I should probably do that.
And then we could just send them a sticker if they
do that.
If they donate. Yeah. Starting at $5, you can get a 2-inch sticker.
I mean, and I got to pay for postage, so.
Oh, right. Yeah, it really would be like a $5 sticker.
I don't know. I mean, it's postage. I'd put it in an envelope with a stamp. You would get a handwritten card from me for $5.
Some people don't even give you stuff at $5. So
do they really? They what?
I don't know.
Holy shit!
I wouldn't know. I don't subscribe to anyone's Patreon.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm a bad person. Just why I'm dubious about setting one up, because I'm like, does anyone do this?
I don't know. Some people do. People do. They do. I guess
we can take money. We accept tips. That'll be my homework this week. I'll set us up.
All right.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.